explain this to me?
For me, it's about the glitz and the glam. We're not holding back. It's all systems go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the month of August, a month where we celebrate all incredible women around South Africa. Welcome to all our viewers to the most exciting conversations with the most inspirational women of Sandton. I'm your host, Melissa, and this is the High Tea with the women of Sandton. And coming up next, I would like to now introduce our very first guest, a renowned actress, an award-winning producer, and successful businesswoman with a great natural skincare product line. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Sister Amanda Kuwe.
Nelisa, this is unacceptable. I didn't ask for this. I didn't. You need to explain this to me. You need to explain this to me. Do you know what's at stake here? What about my family, Nelisa? What do I go and say to the church?
I thought you were ready.
Ready for what? How am I going to face the world like this?
Okay, I'm so sorry.
How am I going to face my parents, my family, the church? I can't.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did say renowned actress, award-winning producer, Sister Amanda Kuwe. Excellent stuff. Beautiful. Oh, wow. You are so good at this. I wasn't sure if you were still acting. You took me there for a while. Thank you so much. Let's make our way to the lounge. Wow, you look absolutely dashing. Thank you so much for joining us. I have to ask, may we please have an autograph?
So funny.
Sister Amanda, you are a woman of many talents. You're an actress, you're a producer, you're a writer. Please, can you reintroduce yourself?
Sure. Okay. All right. If I were to introduce myself, by the way, thank you for having me. This is really a humbling experience. I'm honored, very. You don't understand how much. Mna ndingu Mandaba ubhadela utshuba somntungwa unonononkosi. And my name is Unosabata. Amanda is the second name. That's who I am.
From now on, you are no longer Amanda.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I was born on Sabbath. I guess that's where the name comes from. Yes.
Wow.
12 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
My
That's
mom
beautiful.
says just after the service.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So, acting. That industry is known to be very fascinating. You know, the lights, the camera. How did you get into it?
I didn't get into it. It got into me.
Amen.
Rather, it chose me more than
Amen.
anything. It was an issue of just literally, I was walking at at Golden, do you know Cape Town Parade, that
Yes.
area close to the Golden Acres, if
Yes.
it's still that name.
Yes.
And then there was an old Indian lady, she was carrying a baby daughter. She comes back, she comes to me and she says, hi lady, this is the place I would like you to go to. My daughter is also part of it. You can also. I was like, no ma'am, sorry, what place? Here am I in my first year of study doing food technology at Pentec then, now CPUT. So I liked going to either the gardens near Parliament. You know how beautiful that is. And I would walk through the actual flea market. So when I stumbled upon her, I was like, but why me? So she shared the details, and I took the details Then when I had time off my, because with food technology, you study and you also have practicals in the afternoon. So it had to be one of those days where in the afternoon I am not at tech. So I went, and that's how it started. And I started doing commercials.
Wow.
It's been
And it just
exciting.
took off. Wow.
Yes.
What do you love about your job though the most?
What I love about the job for me is the fact that you are able to communicate messages to people. You are able to adopt any character. You have a breakaway out of your life mostly. And so you can be all these people, and it's like you can go skeevy at times because you have to cry when you have to cry. You have to be mean when you have to be mean. You are happy when you're happy. And you have to be a lawyer one day, and another day you are someone else. And God forbid, I haven't done a role where I'm a sangoma yet. So yes, you adopt many characters. And for me, I find they do buy you a breather. So you can be crazy in a structured way because you can be anybody. Then of course, when you take off that makeup, you offset. There's your life. Amanda must then leave. How does she live? Because of the makeup, of that character, I must still maintain Lamdana Wakwakuwe, and I must still be that church girl, an elder's daughter, head elder's daughter, yes.
Oh, wow.
I must, so there's a lot then on your shoulders. I remember I had a commercial. It was an alcohol commercial. I was cast.
Oh,
It was confirmed, and because I was new in the industry, I couldn't say to my agent, "Sorry, I'm not comfortable with alcohol," and I couldn't, and so they had to replace me so fast. So there's so much that you have to make choices on, and decisions are made on a day-to-day. But it was, and clip-ons, that's the other one, because I'm not pierced. Yes. So every time
Amen.
every time maybe wardrobe is coming and they're matching, they've done everything, but because they didn't check the little things, and then here are your earrings, and I look at them and I'm saying,
Whoops.
"Oopsie,
Yeah.
I don't pierce, I don't tattoo, I don't
Quickly get
and then-
clip-ons.
and then quickly they can actually even snap it and quickly paste on paste on the clip on, and then we continue back on type of a thing.
Wow. So interesting that you say that you spoke of sangomas and alcohol ads, etc. So how do you choose your roles? How do you select them? So when the roles come through, have there been any where you're like, no, I can't act this because this goes against who I am and my principles, etc.?
I do get a lot of such interesting, thought-provoking characters all the time. There was one interesting one. It was an interesting one in the sense that as I read the synopsis, I'm married and the character is falling in love, and I can see that though I'm brought in only, they gave me only the synopsis, and I could see these people are in love. And so I ran to my husband and I asked him, I am not comfortable about this role. It is not actually, I'm not being cast, I'm not asked to come for an audition. The producer and channel would like to see me for this role. And I kind of feel it's gonna go there. So I've had so many of those challenges, and it was a church board item, by the way. It was big.
Wow.
Yes, because it happened my husband at the time, he said, "Oh no, it's okay, Mos, it's a job, it's a job." Well, yes, it is a job, but what people look at that time, especially people who know you, or it's like my children, they look at their mommy portraying a character, not that character of a person they don't know that's on TV. You see, that's a difference. When you are in television, when I was young, I used to imagine these people that live in this little screen, and I made them to live there. But now my kids don't have that opportunity because they live with one here. So that,
you have to
fuzzy,
manage.
So it was a big issue. It went to the church board, that went to the church. A pastor called me.
my goodness.
Fortunately, the pastor he understood the industry and how things are portrayed. So I've had all those
my
challenges,
goodness.
and it is frightening when you don't know. You know, and it did a lot. It caused a lot of stir within the church. I stopped choristering at the time. It shattered us in many, you know, because at the time when he was saying to me, this role is okay. No, go for it. I mean, it's just like any other role. Besides, I met you an actress already. No, go for it. But when it came back, it was different because now it was facing on this man whose wife is in kissing and intimate scenes on television. And you can see, because it is a reality, because when you act what is reality, because at home you must feel, if it's something where you need to feel sympathy, we must dig deep in those emotions, and those emotions must come when you are in love. Again, that must show. So that has been
wow. That's a lot of responsibility to take with you. Wow. But I want us to shift now from your acting. You're also a businesswoman. And I know very well of your amazing natural skin care product line. Take us through that. How's it going?
I don't get you. You everything that I'm about, you like propelling it forward.
Right there.
Thank you, though. I genuinely appreciate. You said I'm a writer, and I am writing, but not yet published, so I'm not yet a writer.
We want to hear it all.
Okay, as I was writing, you know, I'm writing it almost in chapters. I've started writing it from 2016. It's mainly a handbook, more of a manual to my daughters. Okay. That is meant to be the title. And I know there are many daughters out there who would have wished to have had a manual. But unfortunately, this manual comes from a flawed person like I am. And I don't lie to my children. When it's rough, it is what it is. So you go through life thinking that life is like this. It's like little dots that you could easily connect, but life is not like that. Life is an accumulation, or you are an accumulation of those experiences, of day-to-day experiences. So when it comes to the business life, that has been the most exciting, I think. Those have been for me also the most difficult through the years, because it's not easy. One moment you are doing so well, and one moment you are down there. And to come back from down there, Melissa, I do not want to lie to you. People think that it is easy, and they see you smile every day. They don't know the challenges of having to work hard at something that you are not necessarily skilled at. It's all the things you're passionate about. I mean, I love food more than anything. Yes, I've been.
I'm with you on that one.
I love you here. I love you big time. I can't wait. Thank you. This is quite encouraging for me. So I'll work, and you know, reward. I'm looking forward to it. And then, so if you look at food, and the relationship that I have with food starts actually at a very younger age, where food was one cure for my skin, because as around the age of 12, I had about 26 warts on my face. And you must know, I was very tiny, and so, you know, with bullying at school, I had a lot of, you know, you're so thin, it's like you have TB. I had those.
Oh my gosh.
You know, as I'm writing, I feel the pain of that child. There was just so much you had to deal with, but out of those experiences, today I can say I am starting my skin range 100% natural, no preservatives, no stabilizers and all that. But tracking backwards, you know, I started doing events where you have 2,000 people. It's just so much. So for me, it was too much to learn, you know, in a short span of time, because I was just doing local events, being a caterer, decor, and all of a sudden I would have then national coming to our area. They have these big events, especially rural development had a lot of those. So I would pitch up a tent for 2,000 people, decorate it, and provide food. So it was really hectic, and I was also involved in construction. Now that for me was the biggest challenge, because I don't know. Well, Beijing can say we equal, but I felt wanting at the time. Somehow we have to accept our roles and physical build. That there are things that physically are near impossible because of how God has made us, and we've got to also be content with that and embrace it. It was difficult for me. I'm not sure. Maybe it was difficult for me because I was 7 months pregnant in those trenches, starting to build a house from scratch, and tying, the steel that you have to first put together, then in the trench, then the actual concrete they poured.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And since you're speaking about that, I mean, how do you balance work and life? Because do you even have a life with all these careers taking place? It's a lot.
I sometimes think everywhere I go, I have a life. Yes, I love my friends dearly. I appreciate their visits. I appreciate going to their homes, and but mostly I am. People just don't know that about me. I'm content in quietness, more content. If I'm at home, I'm at peace. Everything that I need in life is there, and I feel safer also at home. So I do have a life, and that life revolves around being content with what is around me, and I don't find it out there. My happiness does not reside where I need to go to or where I'm invited. My happiness is always here. Happiness is me. Love and happiness is just here all the time. So that's the beauty of I think what God has given me is being happy regardless. It would be so bad. You know how it goes. The biggest challenge was when Tiger Brands gave me a contract to man their cafeteria. The staff in one day is about 2,000 people. That was like, sometimes when as you grow in your business, there are times when you grow too fast. And sometimes when you've grown that fast, you also are not ready to actually have received this gift or this blessing. So, there's preparing of vessels. That is for real. No, because if you're not ready, it is going to drain you, because now, out of this, now you are trying at the same time and to make it work. And I ran a fishery where that one was much, and learning to dry fish. But it was amazing. Together again with the bakery. But the nicest thing is when it came to food, I tied everything. So the bakery was supporting the fishery. The fishery was supporting the cafeteria.
Coming together,
with
intertwined.
Bread.
Yes. What's the best career decision you've ever made?
All of them.
All of them, yeah?
All of them. I'm one person who doesn't have this thing of regretting every decision that I've made, because I've got to own it up.
Yes.
It is a decision that I made, and it has empowered me. I look at construction. It just has made me a stronger woman, but a little bit harder, because I had to learn to stand and say, when a man is saying, this wall is actually fine, Sissy, when we get to this level, we're going to fix it. So you've got to learn at that time to say, no, when the foundation is skew, it is skew. And so you have to stand with that level, and you've got to say, no, if you do not remove it and fix it from scratch, I will do the honors of kicking it, like any construction supervisor would do. So it taught you to be a bit stronger in terms of
stand your ground.
Standing, and it's standing for something that is right. You know very well the foundation here is actually the basis of how where this house is built. So I don't regret any of the decisions I've gotten involved in, even the ones that I regard as being poor. Those are the ones that have empowered me most. When you are weak, that's when you are strong.
Amen.
Paul is correct.
Amen. Now, just to round off the career part, what advice would you give the next generation of females or women?
South Africa is battling with the issue of self-entitlement. and the whole notion that things, because I am black or because I am a woman, it's supposed to come to me because I am, HDI. So I think for every opportunity that is at your disposal, grab it with all. It is not every day that you get an opportunity. So that's all I would say to a woman, a younger woman growing. And it is every little step that that is in front of you. You've got to walk it. But then who's ordering those steps?
Yes.
And you must remember there are things that we get involved in and they were not ordered for us. So you've also got to sit back and say, that one was not mine. It was someone else's, especially if it fails. It was not meant for me. That's what we do not accept. And also the responsibility of, okay, if you look at television, I produce for television as well. If you think of daily budgets that we work with, it's millions. And the responsibility to make sure that every day not a cent less is spent where it's not supposed to be spent. So those are all the responsibilities that come. So I say, if you are a president, your decisions and your responsibilities are as big as that of a president. If you are a maid, your problems are as big as the maid. So, for as much as you are given, that much
There's
you
more
are responsibility and accountability. So sometimes people must just choose.
Yeah.
And also don't envy someone's life because you don't know what their challenges
Yes,
are. They're as
absolutely.
big as what you are thinking you want.
Absolutely.
Now, when you are given those advantages, then what do? You drown because it was not you. You were taking on things people are already ready for.
Now, let's talk about your personal life a bit. We always seen you on the screens and, wanting your autograph. But let's zoom in a little bit closer.
Oh, okay.
Where is Sister Amanda Kuwe now in terms of relationships?
Relationships. Oh, okay.
That one relationship. Where does she stand now?
Okay. Look, I'm going through a divorce currently, separated for a while now, been married for a year. And it is, for me, the best thing every time you are meeting a scenario and you have to accept, no, I'm not going to cry for this in 2020, in 2021, 2022 will escalate. I'm a person who...
You know when to walk away?
Yeah, I'm not one to hang around abuse. I'm not one to hang around unhappiness. I'm not one to hang around in a fuzzy situation where you're like, wait. I guess, by at our age, you kind of know what you want. You're clear. You are content with who you are. You don't want for other people to define you. So when that is a problem, then it means you live in this. At your age, you have to now be rewired to be someone else and conform to trying to, no. So for me, I think we are alive. And in us being alive on this earth, we are blessed with a life that we are responsible for. I don't live for you. I don't live for someone else. I live for me and my children, for instance, because I now have them. So I need to create a sound, a warm environment and a happy environment for them, and also for all other kids that get into my space as well. So I think when we respect each other, then it makes it a whole lot better.
I like that. Are those one of the characteristics you look for when choosing a husband? Respect?
About respect. Now, respect is an interesting one, especially in our marriages and how marriage was formed. You see, this is what I've learned over the 2 marriages. When we come into a relationship, my responsibility is to do what? Is to submit. And what does my husband?
Love.
And between these two, there's respect, right? And so my responsibility is responding to your love. And you submit to love. You submit to respect. You submit to honor. And so those elements, when they're an issue, then what are you left with to submit to? I am also not saying I don't submit because now you don't love me anymore. If there's no love and respect for each other, there's nothing there. And we're just going to break each other down all the time. So the foundation of it all, it's biblically in Ephesians, love your wives and submit to your husband. It is clear. People must never. I'm a very modern woman at some things, but this one, as a conservative stroke modern woman, these principles will never change, and there's a reason why they are like that, and they empower a relationship.
Yes, I love the fact that you said that. Now you have love and submission, right? Are these mutually exclusive, or are they codependent? Like you said, you're not able to submit, if there's no love. So meaning which one has to come into play first? Or is God basically saying, your role is to love, your role is to submit, and that's it? So are these codependent or are they mutually exclusive?
For me, they are codependent. And you can't have one and then the other. This is what will happen. The other person will be drowned because they are loving. The poor husband is giving their much. They come with the flowers. They wash your feet when you are pregnant. They are so, but you are like this tyrant all the time. You are not accepting his life. You know, sometimes when we get married, we marry the entire clan. When the two families in our culture, when they get married, it's not only the two of us. We marry a community. So this community that came and lobolad me is the same community that I go to serve, so to speak. I'm putting it as a serving because in submission comes service. And if I have come and washed your feet, you know, and put myself, and I'm a doormat to you, but you still treat me with disdain.
It won't work.
You know, there comes a time as a woman or as a man where you have to accept, well, it is what it is. When you've been through all those sessions, and even those who are counseling you are saying, Sisi, it's not gonna work. He was not ready, or she was not ready.
Yeah. Okay, so Sister Amanda, you were obviously married before. That marriage ended. Then you got married for the second time, and now, as you're saying, you're in the process of ending that too. What are the common challenges there, if any, that you've encountered, and how have you navigated through those?
I think what happens when we see people from a distance, we admire how they get to do the things that they do. But when they get here, we now want to compete and try and nullify who they have been. Whereas we are supposed to be complementing each other instead of competing with one another. So I have learned, I think, I look at myself sometimes, I sometimes wish I was 10 years old. Because I have had to fight so much for my existence up until I've decided, no, I'm content with whom I am. And I would like to tell my story myself. And look, let's accept, I am not the Zuzi. This is one thing, the characters of television, what they do. You know, when you have played a fairy tale type of a story, everyone thinks that you are this girl you could break and build. But I have feeling, I have blood that runs through me. I feel pain too. I'm not just the object you see on television, Uzuziwe, that people fell in love with. I am Unusabata Amanda Kowe.
That's great. Now, staying on challenges, you know, infidelity is one of the most common of challenges in relationships and marriages.
True.
Have you ever found yourself in that position where your partner, you know, has been unfaithful towards you? And how did you navigate through that?
No, I've never been in such a transaction. You know, sometimes there are little things that we say as little girls as we grow up. If he cheats, I walk. I'm just that person. So I guess sometimes we speak things into existence in the sense that this is who I am and this is how far I would go. This is so much I will tolerate. This is so much I won't tolerate. And the rest is such. And when you move on, you separate it, you start seeing someone and now you are, they start feeling, oh, okay. No, but now you are, but we are separating. We are moving on.
Now, prior to both your marriages, did you ever go for premarital counseling?
With my first marriage, he was not comfortable with that. With the second one, yes, we did. We fortunately also had the coach with us. Well, I don't know. He dropped us here and there, but yeah, here we are.
Did that help you in any way? Do you feel that
I wish I had a better one who could. You see, when you are, there was conflict of interest. They were friends, they were family, they were in business together. So issues that I felt that we could have discussed together and gotten a third person to be the mediator, it was always lopsided. So I now needed to say, but guys, don't do the guy thing. Let's solve this. Like, I believe this is what I see. Then make me not see it as I see it. And then that's it. And then we see our way forward. And
okay, great. Okay. All right, let's get into more of your spiritual life now. Yes. So why Sandton Church? Out of all churches.
Yes. All right. I had a disconnect with Sandton Church when I first arrived. I went there a couple of Sabbaths. And it was, I guess because I was coming from Brixton Church and small church, my hometown church.
Okay.
For me, it was a difficult adjustment. I couldn't, so I would just come to church, sit at the back, and be at church. It's actually the best thing also to do, to just disappear and be present, because it takes you out of all the other ruffles that are happening around, in our campus of being a Seventh-day Adventist. So that's what I used to do. And then I visited Calvin Church.
That didn't work.
Yes, with children, they also influence what happens because they also needed a vibrant Pathfinder church, and the Sandton Church proved and still is for me the best for my children. Brixton was also incredible. So is Calvin, but for Sandton Church, I think that my children found a home. Yes, they didn't know all the children who attended there, but they were enriched spiritually every day. So I would choose Sandton Church any day. And I like their services because they are relevant to me. Yes. They are realistic in the sense, Guti, they speak to real issues. There's no point tiptoeing around issues.
Absolutely.
We would fail ourselves if we don't deal with issues. Hence, then our children would go out of the church because the church is not being warm and realistic.
Now, I always ask this. There are times when you don't feel like praying. At that specific time, have you ever found yourself in that position? And where did you go? Instead of going to God, where did you run to?
Okay, that happens all the time. I think there are times where you have a WhatsApp type of a setup with God, where you have also amen-less prayers, where you are now saying, Lord, I don't know. I don't know, but I am here. This is my challenge, and I can't seem to pray because as human beings we get so overwhelmed by our existence. We get so overwhelmed by mostly little things because we expected. And so that's why we also get to have that relationship with God that says, you are, no, I'm putting you on the bench because me and you are. So we all go through those. And when I go through those, I genuinely acknowledge I'm this person who's going to say to my parents, Mama, Dada, please pray for me. Sis Pinky, please pray for me. I'm that person when that happens, Isloni, Rumbi, please pray for me, because I know at that time I need someone who's going to stand for me in that gap
when you
once
can't.
I can't.
Where are you during that gap? Where do you go? Where are you?
I exist in terms of, I know my Redeemer lives. I acknowledge, and he's busy working, shifting things around. And
So you don't delve into something else like, I don't know, clubbing or substance abuse or...
I think I have a different
food
that I was
over
just, or any emotional impact or emotion. This is where I run to. I'm that girl. Me and food. You know, and then also I have the advantage of how to grow this. So I live in my garden.
Beautiful.
My garden is my place of solace.
Yes.
And you know, I've studied a hydroponic system, and I've got a prototype of a hydroponic system. I'll actually show you. I brought my many lettuces. I didn't know that so many lettuces can grow in a garden.
Yeah.
So that is a place of healing.
Okay.
And so as I am tilling the soil, because I plant on the soil, I must just buy that farm one day. Every prayer that I made, even as a child, God has made it all come through.
Amen.
So, and I know this one will, so that I can plant, and I get so excited. I don't know whether it's because of the sun, but I really enjoy myself in the garden.
Great.
And
Yes.
I guess my plants will also tell you.
Yes, yes.
These are my other children.
So tell me, it is the month of August, Women's Month.
Yes.
How can we support each other better as women?
Okay, I think this year is different. And I'd like if I had a choice and I could stand on a loud holler and say something, it would be to realize that woman who is struggling. Because what COVID has done is displacing people financially. It has changed people's lives it is sad what is going out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember 2 weeks ago, my mom had 4 kids that were dropped at her house. They didn't have a place to go to. And not so long ago, it was another infant that was ill. No place, nowhere to go. And so you then realize we are beyond poverty levels. I don't know where we're at, but it is a dangerous place. And so if I were to stand at a place currently, is to then let's empower this woman, because when you don't have a trade, when you do not have anything to then support this family, you are dependent. When you are dependent, there's abuse. I guess maybe that's the other dynamic. Maybe that puts me at a point where I don't depend on anyone. I'm not brought up like that. I used to work with my dad in the garden. I used to help him overhaul his car engine. I would be the one. I'd be the one giving him the ring, and I needed to know which one for which part of the car. And so I'm a tomboy, but people don't know that about me. And so when we have an opportunity to empower women, we must then get to a point where we aid other problems that will come thereafter. We as a church, we have an advantage to actually do that. Do you know there are many opportunities that could be coming our sisters and our brothers' way, because those who are in business are then able to create opportunities. I mean, I look at the products that I've just started for the skincare. At my age, I felt one needed to actually have something that is a nourisher, food for your skin. And so if I know there are other women who are doing things, I'm bringing in tea people, but I would like for other ladies in the church to, and then we know from whatever proceeds. And I just saw this incredible, is it wine? Alcohol free from the church.
Northern
so
Conference,
you have
correct.
a website and people can buy these things. And what does it do? It circulates the economy. If you remember how the Jews structured their economy, I know for us, we are these people who like
the same.
Yes, because we like, I'm successful and I must be successful alone, you know. And I'm an actress, so I'm a producer, I must be that alone, and I try and close other people out of it. So if we were to learn that giving spirit of empowering and mentoring and coaching others and opening them up to other markets, look, Sabbath keeping would be a difficult thing not to comply to. It'll be easy to comply because I have my work at church.
Yes, yes. Sister Amanda, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your life's journey with us. Well, we're just getting started. You don't want to miss a beat. High Tea with the Women of Sandton returns after this.
Thank you for having me.
Hello. Mwah. Mwah. So good to see you. Not as much as you do, hey?
Yes.
You look amazing.
Oh.
Our next guest is single and ready to mingle. She's a mother of 2 boys, ages 7 and 10. She works for petroleum chemicals company and manages the logistics therein. She loves going to the gym. She loves listening to music. And she loves discussing current affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Sister Zazi Simelane. Welcome, Sister Zazi.
Thank you, Nelly.
Good to have you. You look
Thank you.
absolutely dashing.
You look beautiful
Wow.
too. I love those colors on you.
Sister Zazi, tell us, a petroleum chemicals company. It sounds so masculine. How did you get in there?
Nelly, thank you for the intro. I love the part where I am ready to mingle.
I hope the gentleman got that.
You know, my career, I have been in a petrochemical company. I've been working there. This is my 3rd one, because you know how it is. You tend to be, when agencies want to, place you, or when potential recruiters, want to place you, they normally place you in a familiar space, based on your, your experience. So I must say, it was never my plan to work for a petrochemical. It was never my plan.
Yeah.
When I was studying my first qualification, I because it was in marketing, I saw myself working for a marketing company, doing branding and so forth. But God's plans are God's plans. And I found myself working in the first petrochemical company to where I find myself today. And I have never left ever since.
Wow.
And
wow.
I'm like a guru there with different types of products that any petrochemical would actually manufacture. And also, I have also found myself within the supply chain, logistics space.
Wow.
Throughout my career, of course, at different levels. Yes.
Now, such huge responsibilities. I mean, you're managing the logistics department, which I'm sure is hectic within its own right.
Yes.
And then you have to manage 2 boys, ages 7 and 10. How do you balance it all?
Nelly, that question, I always ask myself, how do I do it? And I don't have an answer other than the fact that there is God there who's giving me the strength.
Absolutely.
Because as we have said in the intro, I am single now and with my children, living with them and having to take them to school and being busy at work. The type of job that I do, it does not have 9 to 5 end time. You always have to be available. You always have to be on standby because anything goes wrong within the supply chain and you need to, be responsive at all times. So you just need to find time. Maybe that's why I'm single, ready to mingle, because all my time is dedicated to work and actually making sure that I'm there for the boys. Yes.
Now, what has been the most significant barrier in your career? I mean, I'm sure to be the manager of a petroleum chemicals company, managing the logistics. Have you experienced any barriers along the way? And which one has been the most significant for you?
Nelly, the barriers that I have experienced, I'm not going to look at them as negative. Because the environment that I'm in, it is male dominated.
I can imagine.
And it is also Afrikaans dominated.
Oh my goodness.
The males themselves, they are mostly Afrikaans.
Oh my goodness.
And you come in as a woman with a huge portfolio, when I say huge, I don't mean it in a condescending way. It is huge, what I'm responsible for, because it's a do or die situation where they look to my department to make sure that the product that we make gets sold and it gets to where it is destined to be on time. And the barrier is gaining the credibility within that male-dominated environment. So that has been a barrier that I have experienced, but you always find a way on how to maneuver and actually make your presence felt in a humble way. Yes.
Now, I'm happy you said that because I'd like for you to perhaps unpack what role do you think female leadership plays in the workplace environment, especially within a male-dominated environment that you work in?
You know, Anneli, what I've seen work for me personally, especially in the position that I am holding now, today in 2021, is you need to do what you do well. You need to execute extremely well. You need to be very confident, and you also need to lobby within that environment. And when I say lobby, there are people that know better than me. There are people that are even older than me. There are people that have done what I'm doing for far longer. Because as I said, I'm in a chemicals business.
Absolutely.
And we make and sell different types of chemicals. So you find that even though I could have an experience in one, I may not have the experience in the other. So the best way to actually make yourself known, to be respected, is to always seek advice from those who know better. Always look at them as team members or even colleagues, and never feel threatened about not knowing what they know. So that's what that's how I have managed to cope and to also gain the leverage that I need to make this position a success.
Wow. So what do you love about your career or your job?
Every day is different. Every single day is different. You have to deal, even though the difference, you can get familiar with it. But in logistics, yesterday can never be like today. It's either the product that you make is not the way it's supposed to, or the vehicles that have to move it are not there on time, they are breaking, or the cost is just too much, or it's never a dull moment. So that's what I really enjoy. You think on your toes. You always have to be available. It is not monotonous whatsoever. And the leadership that you give within the team will actually make or break the entire value chain. So that's one thing I love, because I am an interface to so many different departments, and I'm more like a sandwich where some meetings cannot go ahead without the portfolio. I don't want to say me, because it sounds like, without the portfolio being present, because you need to give answers and the pressure. I am where I am because I am good at what I do.
Amen.
And I am given the room to actually show that goodness. So I make decisions, and I make brave decisions. Sometimes they're not the best, but I can stand up for them. And that's why even at work, they know that I call myself a coral brick, because nothing will faze me. And because of that, and the decisions that I make, I can stand by them, and I make them confidently. What I've realized, Nelly, in the workplace, especially as a woman or a black woman, within the position that I'm at, we are so shy to make decisions. We are shy to make ourselves present. And you don't need to. As long as you can stand by what you make. I even tell the team that works for me, I believe you can rather make a wrong decision than no decision.
Exactly.
So that's why I always make decisions and just justify why I've made those decisions.
Well, you have plenty of young women that are aspiring to be just like you and manage their own portfolio one day. What career advice would you give to the next generation?
You need to do what you love. You need to not get into an environment because you want money or because there's nothing better that you need to study. And one thing that I don't want you to forget, you can forget everything that I've said, but the thing is, do not think that when you start into a corporate environment, you are going to be at the top. You need to be humble enough to start at the bottom, and by your humbleness and hard working, you will achieve what you are dreaming of as a young woman.
Amen.
So I think, Nelly, that's the best, because what I have realized, Nelly, is as young women especially, you have this qualification, you are 21, and yes, it's your first one. As you know, people study further, and you think that because the qualification speaks about management, CEO, MD, you think when you get there, you're gonna be, with that arrogance. It does not work that way. You need to start at the bottom, and you will get there. You'll get there. It takes time, but you will get there.
Okay, well, I think now that we've covered the career aspect, let's zoom into your personal life.
Oh, Nelly.
So
it will depend what that personal life is.
Okay, so Sister Zazie, at some point in your life, you were a married woman.
Yes.
And now, as we had mentioned before, you're finding yourself back into singlehood or singleness once again. Now, when you were choosing your husband, what did you look for? Or maybe currently now, if you're about to choose your husband, what characteristics would you look for?
I like that question, because I got married very early. I think I was 24 or 5. I can't even remember, because my married life was not the best, but I got married very early. And the man that I married then would not be the man that I would marry today, should God give me an opportunity to marry again. Because there are certain characteristics that I actually took for granted when I was 25 years old. And those characteristics are the ones that contributed to my marriage actually failing. And I would not make that mistake again. Because my mom, as we discussed, she thinks I'm very fussy and very picky, because she thinks my list is long, or it's a fairy tale list, but it's not. I'm not desperate. I know what I want.
Yes, girl.
And I know the type of man that God is gonna say yes. So I'm taking my time, because I'm not in a hurry, and I'm enjoying my life. And I think I'm at my happiest that I've ever been. So coming back to your question,
maybe top 3 things that you look for.
He has to pray with me.
Amen.
We have to pray together. And the people could frown upon with what I'm going to say now. My previous husband was not, when I say Seventh-day Adventist, I don't want to zoom into that. He was a Christian, Sunday church going, but that had a mixture of culture. And you find yourself compromising to make the marriage work. And then God has taught me and showed me within that journey that compromising is actually a disaster. I do not want to compromise about being a Seventh-day Adventist woman. I do not want to whatsoever. I also don't want to dictate to God to say, I'm looking for a Seventh-day Adventist man or whatnot, but I would really prefer someone who is going to understand when I speak about the Sabbath. I don't want to explain like how I used to about certain choices that I would have made with religion. We have to pray together. We have to acknowledge that there is the Sabbath. And another thing, Nelly, I like when you say top 3, because the thing now is when you are a divorced woman and you've got children, as you know, I've got children, people think that perhaps you're looking for a father for your children.
No.
I'm not looking for a father for my children. They've got a father who is extremely loving. He loves them so much, whereby my boys know that they've got a daddy. He may not live with them, but he's so present. When I mean present, every single day of their lives, he is there. So I'm not looking for a father. I'm just looking for a man who's going to be civil towards my children, and acknowledge that they are there, but not a donor, not a financial person, no school, whatever, because we are covered. I'm covered. I just want the man to acknowledge my children and accept them. That's it. So those are the 3. Prayer, church life, and loving my kids.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. Now, to those that are looking forward to getting married, can we perhaps delve into what challenges you encountered in your marriage?
Nelly, my challenge is, number one, my ex-husband was very much older than me. And that age gap does have its negative consequences because, as I said, I was 25 and we've got a 15-year age gap. So he by the time we were together, the things that I was crazy about, you could see that he was frowning upon that. And another thing with the age gap is they tend to see you as a child, and I was not given that space to be a woman. I've got a brain. And when we met, I had completed my first qualification. I was studying my second qualification. So I was not a made woman that I am today, and he, and I think because of the transition of our marriage, I probably took him off guard with, with how I took off from the little girl that he met to growing as a woman. So the age gap is really, one of the things that they need to look into. And another thing, you don't have to rush to be married. Get to know yourself, get to know what it is that you like. And one mistake that I did, that's why I'm saying now, I'm not desperate. You need to be complete and be happy. Because as women, we think when I get a man, he's going to make me happy. No, it's unfair to make somebody who's also got burdens like you and baggage to make you happy. Why? I need to come complete and be happy. So I'm not going to say older. The more mature you are, the better. And don't look for a man who's going to buy you a house when you don't have your own house.
Wow.
Don't look for a man who's got a car when you don't have a car. Don't look a man for a man who's gonna do things that you can't do for yourself. I think that is very short-sighted and unfair and selfish. You need to look for a companion. But the thing is, you only discover those things the older you become. So some women think when they're 35, they're not married. There's something wrong with them. It's a blessing because you are fine-tuning yourself. And by the time you get what you want, you are now a better person. I mean, imagine I was 25. And what did I know? I just thought, oh, this man is here. He's got money. I stay in a nice estate. I stay in a nice house. I go to nice holidays. But those are superficial things. Once you get to the heart of living with somebody, how you guys deal with conflict, because of that huge age gap, you've got no voice. You have got no voice whatsoever. And I would really recommend that if it is possible, the age gap must not be that wide. But my weakness now, Nelly, is that I like this very wide age gap. So I don't know how I'm going to fix it. Exactly. It didn't work for me then, because that's how my mom would always say, I just hope now, and you will have Yolanda Makel.
That would summarize it.
She would say that. But so I don't know what it is about me that I would actually attract men who are more mature, and I also do find them attractive as someone who is a little bit older than me. But now I'm not 25 anymore. I've just entered the years of 40, and I cannot be attracted by a 60-year-old type of a thing. So I think the older I get, probably my age gap will narrow.
Will start to close in.
Because
Okay, so infidelity is a common problem that we encounter in our relationships and marriages. Have you ever found yourself in that situation where you have to deal with infidelity from your partner? And how did you navigate through that?
Oh, Nelly, now you are speaking about, but you know what? You're asking questions that we never talk about. You're asking questions that every household goes through, but we keep up with appearances. And I did that too for many years. And I think once you acknowledge that these things do happen and ask God to give you strength on how to deal with them. I never asked God to give me strength on how to deal with mine. I was a mad woman. Yes, there was infidelity. And I think it's one of the things that also made me to exit. But to be honest, Nelly, the exiting, that decision was more on, I want to be real.
Please.
To the viewers, I want to be real because I want women who are watching, you young ladies, old ladies who are watching at home, to leave this recording with a changed mind, you know, so that we must not keep up with appearances and deal with these demons that attack our homes, you know, and ask God to give you strength. So yes, there was infidelity, and how I handled it then, it was the way how a young girl would handle it. Then if I had to fast forward time, some of the things that I did then, I would not do because I did humiliate myself. And the humiliation is going through statements, phoning those numbers, threatening people. And after you are done with that, it is so exhausting. And I felt pathetic. I thought, but now I felt pathetic today, looking back at the past.
Yes.
But at the time doing it, you know, threatening.
It and felt so like forth. The right thing.
Come at me, girl.
Sort them out.
So taller type of a thing. No, that's not the way. I think the more mature way to deal with infidelity is the way that it is difficult. When I say difficult, it's for a woman to kneel down and cry to God.
Amen.
And say, Father, I saw this number. I saw this slip. I saw this message and I heard something. Because with these things you hear, you know, with women, I would sometimes hear him speak on the phone. And what did I do? Yay! I would be screaming. Yeah, why are you talking to? You know, that type of a thing. So now, even if you would hear those who are married now, even if you hear those things, the best weapon, as painful as it is to go cry. That's why you need to pray when you are married. As a woman, you just need to pray. You kneel down, you cry and say, Father, this is what I'm seeing. It is breaking my heart. Help me how I need to deal with this thing. Help me and show me things that the naked eye would never see, or things that you take for granted, so that you can show me why this is happening. It's difficult. We don't do it, but that's the best solution, I think.
Now, prior to you getting married, did you engage in premarital counseling, or it was more of let's elope to Las Vegas?
Yeah, Nelly, you know, how I got married was strange, man, Nelly. Yes, we did.
Okay.
But it was not within the values that I have gained now. It was his world, and I just featured in that world. So we did premarital with his pastor, his ways, everything. As I said, because of that age gap, I was a tag along, just a trophy, you know, as you grow. I was nice and petite, you know, just to be that tag along. So we did it, but it was not the counseling that was right, because it had to do with him and making him happy, and me just mirror, you know, just to be part. It was a puzzle. Then I just fit into that puzzle, so that whatever objectives that he has about what marriage life should be, I must just say cut and paste. So yeah, we did it, but his way.
Really,
his way.
Yeah. Sure.
And also, just before you move on, at the time, I was I was Seventh-day Adventist church goer. I would just go to church on the Sabbath. Then after the Sabbath, I would even forget. That's it. So that's why it was easy for me to compromise. Not even easy. I was blinded. I thought this is what life is. But once I got to my 30s, my eyes started opening, you know.
There's way more.
I said, no, man, something is not right here. You see. But I said, no. This is not what life is about. This is not what marriage is about. I'm somebody, you know. Why am I being like a shadow of someone?
Okay, let's move into more of your spiritual life. Seeing that now you're talking about church and, you know, attending and going to church on Sabbath. Why did you choose Sandton Church specifically?
Nelly, you're going to laugh why I chose Sandton Church.
Okay.
So I used to, my home church is at Deep Kloof Zone 6 in Soweto.
Okay.
And even after I got married, I was allowed. And when I use I was allowed, because we had to discuss it to say, can I continue with my life and with my church life? He said, yeah, you must continue, but you must know that on Sunday you're going to church. I used to go to church on Sundays too.
Okay.
Wow. For peace.
But it's a lot of church.
But I used to feel like I was having an affair with, like I was cheating on God. You know, I felt so, and I'm not undermining any religion or any day. I'm not undermining. But when I would go to church on that Sunday, I felt so bad. But I just did it to make him happy. You know? So when I got married, Nelly, as I said, I was young. I think it took about 6 or odd years for me to have my first child. And I used to go to Deep Kloof Sandton Church. I mean, to Deep Kloof SDA Church, right?
Yeah.
And because the child was not coming, people would come and touch my stomach. People would ask me, when is the child coming? And at the same time, I was longing for a child. And I think I was also longing for this child because I could see something is not right in my marriage. And I thought this child would fix things. So how I got to Sandton Church, I used to visit Kelvin when it was still in Kelvin and Sandton. So I would alternate, you know. And I would go to Kelvin Church. I would love it. I would love it there. But I would love Kelvin Church inside, the worship and so forth. But when we go out, people were as cold. And I felt out of place. But inside during worship, I used to enjoy myself. I would go to Sandton Church. The music at the time was only English. But there was just something. I didn't feel like I was by myself. And I was by myself because I didn't have children. And my husband at the time was not Seventh-day Adventist. And each time I would do this alternating, I thought, no, I like this place.
You feel more at home.
There was just something about it. Okay. And I found myself worshipping there more and more until I transferred my membership. And it was the best decision for my spiritual growth.
Yes. Now, perhaps you can make reference to this, perhaps in your younger years or in your spiritual journey with God. There are times when life can become so depressing that you just don't want to pray. You don't want to talk to God. And people will say, just pray. And you're like, I need practical solutions here. Yeah. Now, have you ever found yourself in that situation where you don't want to pray? And when you were there at that point, where did you go? Because you'll find that people, they went to substance abuse or they went to clubs or there's always a place where you go. Where did you go at that point instead of going to God?
Yeah, Nelly. There's been a lot of times, and I don't know if I can just zoom into one.
Please.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to zoom into that one is because it's gonna lead to when I started to pray. Okay. As I said, I struggled to have children. Really, I struggled. I'm incomplete inside. When I say incomplete, a doctor would open me up with whatever they would do, and there are things that I don't have that women need to have a child. And when I was longing for this child, I would go to every doctor, spend lots of money, to see what is wrong with me. And I invested in so much time and money and effort to actually discover what is wrong with me, And I never consulted or thought that God would help me. I never. I thought, medicine is going to help me. I would spend hours Googling, reading, to find the solution. I've done so many tests, under the sun, to actually see how I can be fixed. And it didn't work. It did not work because I would invest in that than God.
Now, how do you, with the day-to-day running, you're a very busy woman. You have 2 boys to look after. How do you maintain that spiritual atmosphere in the home?
Yeah, I love that question also because I think it's important. I wake up, I'm an early bird. I wake up early, 5 o'clock. I'm up. I start with reading. You know, I belong to a women's prayer band. And there's also another one that has just started from another conference that I also join into. So with whatever platform, my day starts with God. I read a verse all the time and I pray.
Amen.
When I say everything, I'm not lying. God in heaven. And there are those days where I don't want to. But I make sure that I read. I make sure that I never wake up like a snake, just in jail and start. No. And then because I'm a routine person, after I do that, I have to go for my run if it's not my gym day. Because I alternate between the two. It's either go to the gym in the morning or I do the run. Then after doing the run, I get ready. I have trained my boys. You know, where I find myself today, it's been such a blessing that I never thought it was going to be a blessing. Because they are well trained. They also have their own structure that when I go running, they know what they need to do to get ready. When I come back, of course, I do screaming and shouting because they're not getting ready. And then that's where my day starts. That's one thing I would actually recommend that everybody has to start the first hour, the first half an hour by saying, Lord, this day belongs to you. Shape it for me. Or he does it.
Now, thank you, Sister Zazie. And I think just to wrap it up, how can we as women, seeing that it's Women's Month, I feel like we don't support each other enough as women. How can we as women support each other more?
I think you can only support when we're all authentic. As women, we're not authentic because there's pressure that we are expected to have these, just to keep up, you know, this picket fence, you know, this perfection. And then once you have this facade, no one is going to penetrate you.
You need to break that wall
down. If you
down.
break that wall and become, because some women, when you really get to know who they are, after breaking that wall, they are beautiful people, but they don't give you the platform to get to know them. So the only way is we need to get to know each other. And if there is an opportunity to share your story with other women, do it. You know, share that story. Yes.
Wow. That was a mouthful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Zazie, for sharing your life's journey with us. Coming up next on the High Tea with the Women of Sandton. Stay tuned. And welcome back. Our final guest on the show is a very special lady in my life. She is very, very supportive. She would call me 5 to 10 times a day, to a point that I would tell her if I don't hear from her in 24 hours, I will dial emergency services. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Sister Chi Sundai. Now, Sister Chi, most people don't know what it is that you do. As a matter of fact, they just think you're a housewife. And I would totally understand why. You are so supportive of everyone else. You put your life aside for all of us, myself included. So I need for you to now shock our audience. Shock them today. And please reintroduce who Sister Chi Sundai is. The floor is yours.
Yeah, Sister Nelly, a lot of people actually think I am a housewife, and I keep telling myself that soon I'm going to promote myself to be a housewife, you know, but yes. But in the meantime, until I get there, I've been blessed with various business opportunities. I have interests in logistics. interest in design and construction and in retail.
So what do you love most about your different careers?
The good thing about being an entrepreneur is that it gives you time to do other things, like take care of the family, to be able to attend those sports days, to be able to attend those prize givings. So it allows you, gives that flexibility of doing other things that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you had a 9-to-5 job. So I love working late at night. So I know a lot of people get phone calls from me late at night, and first thing in the morning, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So I'm an early bird, and I'm a late night owl.
Yes, wow. And what is the best career decision you've ever made?
Well, I've been employed ever since I've left varsity. I had been working a 9-to-5 job, and I realized that sooner in life I had to be my own boss. So the best decision I've ever made was to get to a position where I'm able to be my own boss and to open up my own businesses. So
Wow.
I did research on quite a number of businesses, and I've managed to get involved in businesses that allow me to be me and to have the flexibility of taking care of my home and my family as well.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of home and family, how do you balance it all, life and work? Because it seems like a lot.
It is. I mean, I have 4 children, ranging from 10 to 23. So, and trying to balance is. I'm not immune to stress. I think anyone is prone to stress, but it's how you manage those stress, the stress triggers. So I think with me, I've been blessed in that I have a huge support system. I have people at hand who are able to assist me to be able to run a pretty smooth life.
That's beautiful. Okay, so have you experienced any barriers? I mean, like any other entrepreneur, I'm sure it's a very challenging industry to get into, to try and make sure that the business works. Have you ever experienced any setbacks or serious barriers where you've ever had to let go of employees because of the pandemic or anything of that nature?
Yes, I have. I think like any other business, you learn to grow, and you grow from adversity. And I think with the onset of Corona, you need to adapt and to change. Business is never business as usual anymore. In fact, I have a business opportunity that I started at the onset of Corona. It's called Pathkill. We are a group of 5 directors. And we have 2 amazing products that we supply. One of them is Zuno 24 hand-free hand sanitizer, which actually is a hand sanitizer that once it's applied to your hands, it mechanically bonds to your skin like an invisible glove. All you need to do is apply it once a day, and it lasts you for 24 hours. We also have a surface sanitizer that once it's a spray, and you need to spray it once every 28 days, and it kills 99.99% of viruses and bacteria.
Wow.
So that's how we've managed to offset the effects of COVID. And some of my businesses, for example, my logistics company, it did take a setback because when we had the total lockdown, things couldn't move at all. So I've had to redirect my interests, to things that probably will work with the current situation that we're in. But things have got better, and we have managed to get the cars back on the roads, and we thank God for that.
That's beautiful.
But it is a new way of business, and we need to adapt and change with the situation, because how long will Corona be here for? We don't know.
Exactly. It's here to stay. Now, we have upcoming women who also want to be entrepreneurs. What is your advice to the next generation of women coming in to the industry?
Well, do what you love. Do something that even if you are not paid for, you'll still do it. So that's my best advice. Do something that you love.
Beautiful. Now, let's get more into your personal life, shall we? We're zoning in. So, when you were choosing your husband, what did you look for exactly?
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe just the first top 3 things that come to mind.
Okay, I'm going to be brutally honest.
Please do.
You have to have an education. Unfortunately, love doesn't pay the bills.
Oh, yes.
So he had to have an education. So that was my number 1. And number 2, it's got to be somebody who was compatible. And had to have a soft nature, soft, calm coolness to himself, and someone who I knew that I could build a future with. Yeah, those are the 3 things that I looked at. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, like every other marriage, I'm sure you do encounter challenges now and again. What challenges have you been encountering that you'd like to share with other women today?
No marriage is perfect. I think, firstly, you need to be a woman who prays.
Amen.
Because you will go through a lot of things, and sometimes you may feel like throwing the towel. But once you realize that, you get to a stage where you realize that love is not a feeling. Love is a state of being. Because you will get people who somehow feel they're no longer in love, and they go out through the door. But you've got to know that love is a state of being. Once you understand that, you will stomach a lot of things, because you know that whatever you're going through temporarily, things will change, but that situation will change.
And Sister Chi, I think we've had a lot of our women audience that, they go through many challenges in marriages, but I think one of the most common of those challenges is infidelity. Now, how would you advise these women to navigate through such a situation in a marital situation? It's very difficult.
A lot of women tend to blame themselves. Sometimes you can do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes you could do nothing wrong and the man still cheats on you. And we need to stop blaming ourselves that maybe
it's me.
I wasn't skinny enough, or I wasn't pretty enough, or I burnt the food.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of times it's got nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
Because we always tend to compare ourselves with other women, and then you want to find out who his mistress is, and are they younger, what career path are they in, and things like that. So you women, ladies out there, my sisters really, when the men go out and cheat, it's nothing to do with you. You need to stand firm to your faith and know that your joy comes from God. Because a lot of women, once we get married, we tend to stop our lives, and then and everything about us, we start concentrating on the husband. It's all about the husband. If he's happy, I'm happy. If he's sad, I have to be sad. And then they become like our joy. But our joy should be from God. It should be our source of joy. He should be our number one love. And we need to realize our self-worth. I think a lot of times, once you've been trampled on when a husband cheats, you lose that confidence. But you need to know that you are worthy. That you are worthy of somebody who loves you totally and only loves you, only wants to be with you.
Amen. That's great, Sister Chi. Thank you for sharing that. And I actually wanted to draw you into my next question of, do you feel that premarital counseling actually works? I mean, did you try it? Did it work for you?
Yes, it does. I think our church does say that we all, before you get married, you need to have premarital advice,
counseling.
There's a seminars that you go through or workshops.
Yeah.
I think it does work to a certain extent, but it should never be a once-off thing. I think I actually gained a lot of insight into married life when I had my bridal shower. When one of the ladies there said, let's be brutally honest, with this new bride to be. Let's not make her feel that once she gets married, you know, it's going to be a bed of roses. It's not.
It's not.
And
yeah.
a lot of women, married women go through a lot of things, you know, and you just need to stick it up sometimes. But you need to know, is it worth it sometimes, especially when someone betrays your trust.
Absolutely.
You know, and then there are obviously the children involved, you know, things like that. I'm going to keep going back to this. We need, as women, to know how worthy we are. We are more than the married surnames that we have. We are more than the Mrs. You know, take away the Mrs. Take away your job description. Take away everything else, you know, and get down to who you are. I'm Chieta. That's who I am. Everything else, the children, the husband, is all a blessing, you know, and I love them so much, you know, but I am, deep down, I'm Chieta.
I love what you were saying, that we need to have, or rather recognize our self-worth. How do we promote that self-love for ourselves as women? How can we do that?
In fact, I'm involved in women's ministry in the My Sister, My Friend initiative. It's a series of workshops that will be starting at the end of August for a couple of weeks, where we have teenagers, and then there are 4 key themes involved. There's real beauty, there's real me, there's real love, where we try to instill in young girls their worthiness. You know, in terms of real beauty, is like, you are beautiful the way you are. You don't need to be anybody else. So once we instill such beliefs in young children, they grow up knowing who they are. So, and yes, even when you are older as women, it's important to be involved with women who know who they are as well.
Yeah.
And just get rid of the women who are negative, who do not add value to our life, to your life at all. But then it's important to get involved with women who build you up, to have that kind of relationship, to have relationships with females or friends. We actually, you know, promote your worthiness.
And I think now, moving into the spiritual realm, we need to know, why Sandton Church? Why did you choose Sandton Church?
Sandton.
Our home.
In fact, when we first moved to Joburg from Durban, we were hopping from one church to another. I think we've been to almost every single church in Joburg, in Johannesburg. And then we settled for Sandton because I love big things.
Yes.
So I love the size of Sandton, and I love the way that you are welcomed. I think the deacons and the deaconesses, they do a fantastic job in welcoming guests.
Yes.
And I love the fact that it's a big church. I love the opportunities that will probably become available for me to volunteer my services, because I love getting involved, you know, in church activities. So, and that's what happened at Sandton. It gave me the opportunity. I think my first department was Adventurers. So I got into Adventurers, and from there on, I went through several other departments.
Yes.
So why Sandton Church? It's a beautiful church. Beautiful church, beautiful people.
Beautiful people,
I love
yeah.
the singing. I love the sermons, and the fact that we have 2 services. You know, so you can come for the morning service. That's
Flexibility.
morning service or afternoon service, and then and you can come to both. And normally I'd come in the morning, stay all the way until in the afternoon.
Yeah. Oh wow, you definitely love your God. Now, speaking of God, Sister Chi, have you ever found yourself in a position where you just don't feel like praying? You know, life can really knock you so hard that you just really don't feel like praying. At that point, where did you go? Who did you turn to?
I don't think I've ever had the luxury of not wanting to pray. When I'm totally knocked down by life, I'm on my knees. I am on my knees. I will question God. Sometimes I feel, do I even have the right to question Him? But I will question Him. Like, why is this happening? Because I don't understand, because I'm your child. You know, so, and I always tell myself, no, you can't question her, but I do, you know. So I cannot say I've ever been in a situation where I did not feel like praying. He is my number one call to go-to person. When I'm happy, I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
When I'm sad, I'm like, Lord, why?
Yes.
So, yeah, I've never had that luxury of not wanting to pray, but being in His closeness.
Do you feel we have that right to question God at times? I mean, I know we do get frustrated and we need to learn to just trust and obey and just follow His lead. But do you feel that at any point we can actually stop and say, but God, what's happening here? Talk to me, answer me. Do we have that right?
I have a mentor, and he said to me a couple of months ago, and I do this quite often now. He says to me, when you're in your lows, especially when you're in your lows, get up early in the morning. Get up early, 3 o'clock. Get up early in the morning. Just go into your room, and then shut the door, sit down, maybe put your alarm clock on for 15, 20 minutes, and just say, God, I'm here. Talk to me. So it's a conversation you have with Him in your mind. When you're like, Lord, I'm here, give me answers, because sometimes I don't understand. So do I think we have a right to question Him? I don't know. But can we? Because He's our Father, isn't He?
Absolutely.
He says, come to me. Come to me, sit down, let's talk, my child.
Talk, yeah.
And I think a lot of times is we don't wait for the answer. We will go to Him and like, Lord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And then we get up from our knees and do something else. But we don't have that time where we sit down and we're like, I'm here, you know, as your daughter, at your throne of grace and mercy. Just tell me what's going on, because I don't understand right now.
And yeah, Sister G, I think, you know, you're a very busy woman from what I'm picking up. You have multiple businesses. You have your 300 children. There's your 4 biological, and there are also the children from children's ministries. You're a mother to everyone. You're supporting the media and comms team, you know, a leader like myself. So how do you maintain that spiritual atmosphere within your home whilst balancing all these other things? Don't you lose track of your spirituality at some point?
No, I do not lose track. That is the core, that's the essence of who I am. At home, we have 7 o'clock prayers every night. And I've had to get out of meetings. I'm like, you know, because I know my main meetings are 7 o'clock at night with my family. And ever since the onset of COVID, my family and my sisters and my brothers and my mom back in Sim, we have our Zoom meetings, which are prayer meetings. So every day at 7 o'clock at night, all of us with my extended family, we're all together, and each week we take turns of who's hosting the meetings. So everything else stops. Once it gets to 7 o'clock p.m., everything stops. Then obviously there is my own personal devotions that I have as well.
Amen. That's great. So I think having those, you know, set times for prayer actually helps you to align the entire family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And also for
great.
myself, I actually have an alarm clock. I know at 12 o'clock, whatever I'm going to stop, whatever I'm doing, I need to pray.
Oh,
so I actually
wow.
pray 3 times a day.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
set on my alarm, and whatever, it doesn't really matter if I'm in a meeting or if I'm at a sports day.
You
Everything
just
comes to a
excuse
halt.
yourself.
Yes. And it's important because sometimes the devil is good at keeping us busy. And we actually forget, we don't even have time to pray because it's too busy being busy doing something else. Yet it's important to keep yourself grounded, for you to know where you are is a result of a higher force, you know, and that way it actually keeps me connected to God. I know I've got my brother, he's an excellent cosmetic gynecologist. His name is Dr. Josh Matambo. And I told him that, you know, I will pray for him. In fact, I fast for him 3 times a week.
Wow.
You know, so fasting is part of me. I think spirituality is, you know, is what my family is all about. You know, it just brings us, just let us know that there is someone else above there.
Sister Chi, you support me so well. And I wish that, you know, your level of support, you personalize it. Or I don't know, maybe it's just me. But how can we as women, you know, looking at Women's Month now, how can we best support each other as women? Because I feel that's the missing element that we're currently facing.
Okay, well, in terms of my logistics company, I've started employing female drivers.
Amen.
And they're doing pretty well. So every time I need to replace a driver, I try and get a female in. So supporting is more than just sharing lipstick. Supporting someone is getting to know someone, you know, and seeing what kind of support that they need. I know that's why a lot of people think I'm a housewife, because I'm always there for a lot of people. And then and people say that I have this ability of making that particular person feel that, you know, they're my favorites. Yeah. But it's important for us women to support each other, because if we don't support each other, who else is going to support us? It's important to see the beauty in women. I think women are extremely beautiful and talented, and sometimes we don't realize that because of the pressures of this world, of what we've had to undergo as women. So support women in business, support women in your social circles, women at church, because women should be running this world as far as I'm concerned, because we are strong, we are bold, we are courageous, and we carry a lot of hats.
Yeah, no, that's actually very key. And I don't know, maybe we should have more workshops, you know, that actually, or more events that bring us together, you know. But we really need to find ways to connect with each other and support each other.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
life is hard. Sister Chi, thank you. Thank you so much for, you know, blessing us with your presence. Thank you for taking the time out to share your life's journey with us. Well, and there you have it. But stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break as we proceed to the final moments of the high tea of the Women of Sandton.
You need to explain this to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the month of August, a month where we celebrate all incredible women around South Africa. Welcome to all our viewers to the most exciting conversations with the most inspirational women of Sandton. I'm your host, Melissa, and this is the High Tea with the Women of Sandton. And welcome back to all our viewers. We now have all our beautiful ladies in one room. Welcome, ladies. And now the great side about hanging out with entrepreneurs is you get to taste the edible side of the business. Sister Amanda, take us through it very briefly.
All right, this is what we do with my little ones. We make our own bread. You know, with kids,
It's delicious.
if you do not think that putting what is pumpkin seeds,
Yes.
your flax seed and your poppy seeds, if you know your kids don't like those and you want to sneak it in, bake your bread. Zazie can just cut up for us, or put them in muffin cups.
Okay.
Because when they're in muffin cups, you know, the mind says, this is a muffin and I'm expecting something that is going to be delicious.
Yes.
And so then they end up enjoying good food, but presented in a way that is acceptable for them. Okay, this is when I used to be a baker.
Okay.
But
wow.
then I normally make kombucha.
Oh,
This is what we do
wow.
at home. With kombucha, this is a culture. It's more like mushroom. It's a family, your mycotas. So what they do is they produce or rather they use up the sugar and produce fermentation. And when this product is concluded, you add, or rather you first make teas. It's your black tea for those who take caffeine tea, and or green tea.
Okay.
It's quite healthy because then you get the benefits of antioxidants from the green tea, and the kombucha will then use the sugars that is good for your probiotic.
Oh, wow.
No candida issues, no trash problems.
Oh, wow.
This is a good probiotic, and you can make it at home. It's very easy.
Okay.
What I do is to take my kombucha after I've poured, it's fermented, and I pour a little bit of ginger. It's no different. So I'd like for you to try that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Looks delicious.
You can pour some ginger if you like.
I think I should pass on the ginger.
Do you know what I did? I actually gulped the powder itself. It was not stirred. But I love that because it gives you that ginger tea feel. If you remember the program I had at church the other time, these were the chilies.
Good.
You remember those long chilies that were green that dried out? And so what you then do, you can just take the seeds out and we share those among ourselves. This is how
beautiful.
We normally see the seeds are more like your green pepper seeds.
Yes.
Yes. So I have a lot of seeds. So those who want to share seeds must just shout. Then these are my pet projects.
Okay. Wow.
You remember the hydroponic system that I'm running?
Yes.
These are all the different lettuces that I get to plant on it. And we do not throw away any of the lettuce in the house. You know how you buy lettuce?
Absolutely, yeah.
Friday, Sabbath preparation.
Yes.
But by Monday, you are throwing it away. We don't do that. We just break off the leaves we need, and it continues to grow on that hydroponics system. So you can grow whatever you like. I'm a fan of the greeneries, like your kale. Look at this kale. This actually, I think it's an import. I found it in one of these markets.
Yes.
And we grow chimolia. Oh, chimolia is great to grow on soil and on hydroponic system. For me, I just feel, Uguti, we are missing out on the goodness of earth if we don't use the soil that we have. And everyone who's got land and they're not using it, that is painful for me. And so one other thing that I do, even with the kale, I extract it for skin products, but I'm playing around with things like blueberry to just see, can that be made into a skin program?
Oh, wow.
And for being here,
wow.
I would like to give my two ladies
wow. That's so nice. Let's see.
It's testers.
Can we show the camera?
Thank
Wow.
you.
Open your gifts, ladies.
It's actually cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah?
Thank you. Please.
Wow.
She loves
I'm
gifts.
excited. I'm totally excited.
now
Wow.
these are purely
Stunning.
everything is
Thank
from
you.
natural.
That's amazing.
Everything is from natural products from all over Africa, even because some of you have your shea butter there. You know, shea butter comes from Ghana, and we mix cocoa butter. It depends which one it is. Then this is cold pressed moringa. And we have a combination of, you know how even teenagers have got that skin that has pimples that have got those pussy pimple acne. I found the subjects that we tested on, they actually benefited. My daughter is one of them, and she's 15, and now her skin has cleared up.
Beautiful.
I've had great testimonies from ladies, even on set, who actually, the makeup artist said, you've helped us. The pores have tightened, and the skin can absorb better. And then, of course, Your Highness.
Yes. Are you calling me?
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for inviting us.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
hope you enjoy it.
Thank
And
you.
I would like that feedback because, you know,
Absolutely.
it's almost a year now. We've been doing the tests on the products. And please don't expose it to the sun. It will melt. It's not. It doesn't have all the stuff that preservatives, stabilizers. It is just pure goodness.
Wow,
And
beautiful.
yes,
Thank you.
Let's also keep just, you know,
Absolutely.
feed our skin.
Absolutely.
What you can't eat, don't put it on your skin.
Wow. I'll take that definitely home with me. Thank you so much, Sister Amanda, and we will give you feedback on your amazing products. Well, we're not ending it here. We're just going to lighten up the mood a little bit. Now we're going to play a little raffle game with the ladies. They're going to answer some questions that we have for them in this beautiful silver bowl. So, ladies, you will dip your hand in and take one question, read it out to our viewers, and then answer the question thereafter. So, Sister Zazie, we will start with you.
Okay. And I read it as is.
Yes.
What more proactive role should women be playing in spreading the word of God? What more proactive role? Firstly, women should not be shy about speaking about God in social circles. We tend to segment Christianity on a Sabbath or in a religious gathering for those who are not Sabbath worshippers. And I think to be authentic by actually speaking about God where it is least expected. It is one of the more natural things that you can do for people to see Christ-likeness in you where it is least expected.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Zazie. Sister Chi, or maybe let me try and help.
Thank you.
Perhaps you can grab. And Sister Amanda. Okay, that'll be round one. Sister Chi,
Okay.
please read out the question.
My question is, do you plan on having more children?
I know the answer to that. Of course, yes.
I have 4 children, so no, I do not plan on having more children. I wish I could, but I think because of age, no, it would just be wrong. So no, I do not plan on having more children. However, not having biological kids, but then in terms of adopting children and being that mother figure to a lot of other children, I will definitely carry on doing that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sister Amanda. And she laughs at first.
What advice would you give a woman who is in a relationship with someone of a different faith?
Yes. Wow.
That you're answering, not me, right?
No, that's yours.
Okay. You know, this is a difficult question in the sense that mostly we do not dictate much who we fall in love with dearly. Maybe in the past where parents organized marriages for us, we learned to love. This, then I think also when we have fallen in love and are marrying someone out of the faith, the norm is of us Seventh Adventists is to make other religions inferior. You find a God-fearing person who doesn't even touch you sexually, who respects your body and waiting. I mean, I was in such a relationship when I first started dating. Brethren in the church, they were the first ones to want you to go to bed with them. But this brother, he was in the Faith Mission Church, and we never. And so it is important then for me to then ask that woman who is dating outside or unequally yoked type of a setup. It is important then that they are the example, they are the Christ. You know how we easily think that we are superior as Seventh-day Adventists, as if we are better and we are the messed up bunch. But I do believe then we can live the Christ that we want to bring others into, and live. You know, when their in-laws they don't observe the Sabbath, but teach them with love, not by law, but with kindness and love, just as Christ would have done things.
So in other words, it's okay to date outside of the Seventh-day Adventist faith.
I would not say yes. Both my marriages were of Seventh-day Adventists. I don't know why I had to be the one picking this quote up.
It's meant for you.
Okay, I married Seventh-day Adventists, both. So I'm a Seventh-day Adventist myself. So I just think there is no outright formula you can dictate to a person, but we know, Sister White advises on courtship. And she is correct, because what then happens is your issues get added upon, because now when it is on Sabbath, they are having umkomboti brewing and a cow slaughtered that day. You are going to go as umakoti, or when you retaliate, you are then fighting what you bought into, what you were lobolad into. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it is difficult. And even I myself, I'm thinking, no Sabbatha again. No SDA guy, because I'm rather petrified, or petrified maybe of myself as well, because people think that they can, they can change you. You can't change people. Only Christ can do that.
Amen.
But if you are exemplary to that person, it should not be a huge issue for them too. So I'm not saying yes, you may, but we know what is right. Being unequally yoked, marriage is a complex institution. So you're now adding a burden on it. But again, who am I to actually come right out? But all I know is no SDA for me.
You can feel round 2. Ladies, please grab. Grab and pass.
Okay.
Round two. Sis Amanda, since you have your second question, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, this is cute.
Yes. What does it say?
Okay. What top 3 tips would you give men to prioritize when it comes to their wives?
Wow. Okay.
That's the most humbling thing anybody can think of writing.
Educate our men out there. What are those 3 tips?
Hey, men out there, you know we love you, right? With the love of the Lord. So, my number 1 tip that I would give to a man, you know women are trying, but you'd never know what they are trying. They're trying so hard to be the best thing ever for you and your children and your family. But sometimes they don't know how to do it best and need your guidance. 2, they need your acceptance and your support.
Yes.
I think loving does not come into this one. Only those 3. If only one were to be sensitive to those.
Sister Chi?
Who inspires you?
Wow.
That's my question. And why? I'm blessed to come from a very big family. I have 6 siblings, and I've got my parents. My mom inspires me. My mom is 81 years old. She is a hard worker. Earlier on in her career, she used to be a teacher, and then she went on to open up her own businesses. Right now, she's 81, and 2 weeks ago, she opened up her catering business. My mom works hard, so that's what inspires me, because I can never sit down when I know that my mom is working hard. And the thing is that she doesn't really need to provide for herself, because we provide for her. I and my other siblings do. But then she knows that you need to get up early in the morning and do something, because God gave you another day, to make a difference. And she's involved in a lot of community projects. And I know she just supplies a lot of food to schools and clothing to the disadvantaged. And she helps out a lot in different church departments. She drives her own car, she cooks her own food, but she's got chefs to do that and drivers to do that. But she gets up every morning, and she, as a woman of prayer, she's a prayer warrior. She will spend the entire night praying for all her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren.
Amen.
She's my greatest inspiration, knowing that you can make a difference out there. We all have that ability to make a difference and to be impactful in someone's life. So it's my mom, and
Great.
I've got my brothers too. I know they're watching. You all inspire me, Brother Josh, Brother Al.
It's Women's Day.
And
We'll
my
keep
sister,
it with mom
my
and
dear
sister.
You have so much strength, and I love you so much. You have accomplished so much, and I look up to you every single day. And I want to let you know that you are totally awesome.
Amen. Amen. Sister Zazie.
This one is cute. What's your favorite hymn?
Ah, wow. What
I
is
hope
it?
I don't have to sing it.
Let's hear it.
No,
With him.
I think I know as Seventh-day Adventists, we normally sing from the hymnal.
Yeah.
But I think the song lately that really makes me to be in the spirit, it's not in our hymnal, is "Oh Victory in Jesus." Oh, victory is Jesus,
Amen.
my Savior forever. So that's my favorite.
I actually love that. Okay, so let's try that one stanza. Soprano, tenor, alto. Sister Chi, what are you?
I don't know the lyrics
Sopran-
off by heart.
We'll try it. One
Or else I would
stanza.
have sang the song. No.
You started off well. Oh, victory. Okay, so what do we say is SDA's 2?
Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He washed me and clothed me beneath the cleansing blood. He loved me and I knew him, and all the love he showed me. Oh, victory in Jesus, beneath the cleansing blood.
Amen.
Amen. Look, no one knows the lyrics, but
love
we
that song.
tried.
But yeah.
I
We
love
tried.
that song. I love that song.
Oh,
I really love that
amen.
song.
There truly is victory in Jesus.
Oh, yes.
All right, the moment has arrived. Our surprise guest for the ladies. May our surprise guest please reveal himself or herself. And your surprise has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, our very own pastor and shepherdess.
Oh, come on, Fundis.
Wow. Please do have a seat. Wow. Thank you
looking
so
snazzy.
much. Loving the colors, loving the colors. Well, I told you I would. I always deliver. What do you say?
Hey.
Now, we did not expect the pastor to walk in with his wife.
Of course, you know? Wow. Absolutely.
No, it's not the issue of company or a partner or, Mfundisi. You kept on talking about talent and I'm thinking, maybe it's someone else. It's someone else.
Welcome.
This is good surprise.
Pastor. Yes, welcome, Pastor, and
We're not
welcome
expecting it.
to our shepherdess. Well, we have our incredible pastor and shepherdess. We also have our incredible 3 beautiful ladies. So what's missing? That's right, a few glasses to toast all this incredibility in one room. So we are so lucky to have been sponsored by the Northern Conference with the superior Cabernet grape juice wines. And now we are going to toast this momentous occasion with the pastor. Can we have our glasses, please?
Thank you.
Thank you so kindly.
Pastor, over to you.
It is my honorable pleasure today as we celebrate this lovely Women's Month here in the exotic country of South Africa. It is my pleasure to toast to the charm, the beauty, and the elegance of Amanda, Chi, Zazie, shepherdess, and our lovely convener host, Tess, Nelissa. And to all the ladies who are out there in your living rooms right now, I toast to you, to your health and to your beauty.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Let's all stand. And cheers. Cheers. Nice.
And to our parent organization, the Northern Conference, Pastor Malagutu and your associates and staff, we thank you that you have chosen us as the prized possession of the Northern Conference. I toast to you.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you, ladies. And I think, Pastor, since you have graced us now with your presence, could you kindly provide us with a closing word of prayer for this occasion?
Yes.
So we can walk away from this feeling blessed. Over to you, Pastor.
It will be my pleasure. As I've toasted to the occasion, now we're giving thanks to the one who made it possible for us to be here safely, our Heavenly Father. May you bow your heads with me. Our kind, ever-loving Father, we thank you for life, for love, and for happiness. We thank you, Lord, for this moment in which the government of South Africa had the understanding and the sensitivity to allow these women of South Africa who've done so much for the development of this country to be recognized and honored. We thank you, Lord, for this occasion, and we ask that you continue to bless us and guide us. Sandton adores the fact that we are your prized possession. Lord, we thank you for your goodness. Bless us, we pray, as we go through this month and celebrate spiritually, beginning this Sabbath. Stay with us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. At the beginning of my ministry, when I interned under my senior pastor, one of the things that I learned was inclusivity, gender equality. And because Jesus was a model that his ministry included women, I intend at Sandton to do no less. It has been an exciting journey so far that our congregation is packed with very talented and progressive women. As I go forward into the future, they will be a significant part of my journey at Sandton. I look forward to the future. It was my pleasure today to spend some time with 5 of the lovely ladies of our church. We had my dear wife, Pam, Zazie, Che, Amanda, and Melissa. And they just represent the 5 of the best of the rest who are at Sandton. And God would guide us, because we're doing what heaven desires and what heaven would look like when Jesus comes.
Well, and that's it from us. I truly hope you have enjoyed the show. We would like to give a special thank you to the President of the Northern Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, President Maligudu. We thank you for your unwavering support towards this initiative. We would also like to thank our professional photographer, Photos from Tundi. We'd also like to thank the Sandton Media and Communications Department. And of course, not forgetting our special thanks to the Director of the Sandton Adventist Women's Ministry. And last but not least, we thank our media strategic partner, MelVee Broadcasting Network. Well, I have to love and leave you. I truly hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm your host, Nelissa, signing out with the high tea of the women of Sandton. May God bless. also good at this? Yes. Yeah. Give it to me, all of it. I'm good. Okay, all right. Wait, okay. Okay, and then, oh, this one, he's already rolling.